Hello friends, Mystery here, reporting live for Sloptide News Network, your most trusted source for all things Darktide, of course Slop, and today we are talking about everything that has happened since yesterday with the release of Skitarii. I'll be going live, actually live in a few moments here to stream with some fellow Darktiders, and yes, we have a lot to cover here. We had a relatively sizable patch outside of even just the Skitarii being introduced, with a couple new enemies, and a couple new bugs as well I'll be touching on. I'll be making a future video to follow up on those bugs. So yes, let's go over patch 1.12.0. Why is this picture so low resolution? This is insanely low resolution. 800 by 450. Interesting. Okay, anyway, well this looks nice at least. So the first thing you'll notice with the new update, probably the first thing you notice is Skitarii, but we do have a new event in the game. The event is called Heretical Artifacts. So what this is just a regular event. You can get some resources and stuff, help you level up. That's nice. And we have a choice with this, just like a previous event we've had. We can either submit the artifacts you find to Adherents of Saint Messalina or Scourge of the Faithless. As of time of writing, there's absolutely zero chance that the Scourge of the Faithless is gonna come out dominant over the two. I think that players, upon looking at the benefits that are provided by these, increased coherency radius, boosted attack and movement speed versus increased damage, and burn duration. And also, we want to be good boys. Most players, like 90% plus of players, are submitting their relics to the Adherents of Saint Messalina. And that is, whatever, turning them in, you'll get this little portrait frame, has some little incenses, great. That's just a mix of resources. I think most players are interested in what has changed with the game itself. So first up, we have the new Scab and Dreg Vanguards. You can see them in this very low-res picture here. This is a Dreg Vanguard. So the two are functionally pretty similar. They have these shields. The shields do have their own sort of HP bars, as I understand it, and it seems that there are certain types of attacks, such as blunt weapons and stuff, that deal more damage against these shields. So like your small piercing weapons, like daggers, etc., do not seem to break these shields as much, and they do eventually get broken. The dregs, the ones featured here, have, as you can see, kind of like thrown together from scrap shields, but the scabs, they are much hardier, they have more armor, and they have a more durable shield. And these guys are very, very stagger resistant. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of how their gameplay feedback feels. They just kind of like tank the blows. They don't really move a whole lot. You'll be like hitting the horde, and then suddenly you'll be like, why is this guy like not flinching and getting punched in the face 3 times? And it's because he's one of these guys. They actually have quite a bit of HP hidden behind the shield as well. So the Scab Stalkers, yes, they're tankier, but they appear in less numbers comparatively. But I think it's a nice little addition, and in adding these, what they did is they removed a lot of bulwarks. I have seen very few bulwarks, honestly, playing on Oryx and stuff. I haven't gone back into Havoc just yet, but yeah, it does feel like there's a lot less bulwarks to go around, which is lovely. Now, hopefully they can come around and make bulwarks different, and maybe they can add some back in once they make bulwarks like actually kind of enjoyable to play with. But yeah, that's a nice new feature. Nice to get some fresh blood out there, although I don't think these things are really shaking up the meta or anything. Okay, as far as balance changes, they did say they're reducing the amount of bulwarks, and they've added the Packmaster into base game mode missions. So Havoc and regular old, quick play missions you can see the Packmaster. The Packmaster is he's a pretty aggressive boss. He'll get on one person. He's faster than the characters are, and what he'll do is he'll hit someone and shock prod them, and then they can't regenerate their dodges and stuff, and then he'll just try to kill them from there. Unfortunately for him, it does feel like maybe his HP or his damage is like a little bit low. I've not really been able to see him being able to do anything just yet. It just seems like player damage is just far too high in terms of him to exist meaningfully. He kind of feels like a Plague Ogryn 2, other than he spawns more of these little dogs and stuff. But yeah, the Packmaster is a cool addition. We like getting new enemies. I just think he needs to be tuned up, because the times that I've encountered him, not scary. Not scary in the slightest. Plasma Gun Narc 3 has been added, so this is the variant on the plasma gun that we all know and love. Both the Veteran and the Skitarii are going to get both these marks, so they'll have the Mark II, the original one, and the Mark III. If you're interested, if you want to know where I'm feeling about the balance of the power here, I believe the Mark II is still going to remain the dominant one. The Mark III here, is just not really what you want the plasma gun for. You want to be one-shotting stuff with the plasma gun. You want to be penetrating targets. This gives up the penetrative power and it gives up a fair bit of damage. So I just don't think it really is a selling point, at least for me. So I'm going to give a pass on the Mark III, although it's nice that we get a little bit of extra variation. Then we had an Expeditions update, and I know this is probably not that interesting to people. Unclear what they mean by new scavenge zone. Maybe that just means like one little variant. I've seen a couple of people play it on stream and stuff, and they haven't encountered anything that I wouldn't recognize yet, so that's interesting. New sites of interest, so I don't know, there's like new tile sets, and then new Deadsider Sanctuary. But it's just a different layout of the Deadsider Sanctuary. It doesn't really change anything about what's going on there. So, kind of womp womp on that. We can probably skip past most of this. I don't think that's going to apply to a whole lot of people, but just some general bug features that might help if you're grinding out your penances there. In terms of general changes, we got some title changes for the Hive Scum, the Arbitrator, and the Skitarii. Poxbursters. Okay, let's pause here, and this will be the subject of a future video because these things are still fucked. The Poxbursters have been quote-unquote fixed in the way that you can fix, like, you know, a crazy person by lobotomizing them, right? We have made them into just, like, they're broken in a different way now. So previously what was happening with these things is that they would be super unpredictable and volatile when they got near players. So when they were coming towards you, there was one of any number of things they could do. They could jump at you from exceedingly far away, and you could be unable to like get the fuck out of the way, and you couldn't push them because you were already too far away. They could change targets at a moment's notice and go for someone else nearby. They could refuse to engage the fuse and just walk up to you and try to like clip their atoms inside of yours. Or they could even like jump around corners. They had like wall hacks basically, and they could tell where you were, and they could make right angles in the air to hit you. So one of the things that I'd always been championing in terms of like fixing this problem, especially the non-detonation problem, where they would walk up and refuse to fall over and die, and then you'd like push them to the ground, and then they'd lay around and flop around like a dead fish for like an hour. That they have fixed by making it so that they will enter their explode state when being staggered by a push, no matter who does it, even if they weren't in that lunging state, which is good, right? You'd think. The problem with that is that the consistency on pushing these things is like next to zero. It is like, it's so bad, because what happens is when you are the target of the Poxburster and it's going for you, you get sort of a link between the two of you, and it's trying to get you, and if you're the target, you get a massive shove radius on that Poxburster. So you can shove it back from like really far away, but other people that are basically having to like walk into it, like generally like kiss the damn thing in order to be able to push it. And what I've seen is that like players can't even do that. So let's demonstrate how fixed these Poxbursters are. Really, this is a not uncommon experience that I have seen and have a number of times. There's a Poxburster. Okay. And there we go, right? So it's just like that should have been being pushed like a bunch, even with considering that it's not targeted on us. Like, look, that push would have pushed any other enemy in the game, but it's refusing to, and it's not engaging its fuse at all. This is a very common bug with this thing. We'll make a future video tearing it down, but this is, look out for this. These things are now like bugged within the bug, and at least it seems though that they have solved like the more annoying issue where they were just detonating and hitting everybody all the time. But yeah, this is making them even more annoying in some ways. Okay, moving on past that, we got a minor buff to the Delver's Pickaxe, but then a very considerable buff to the Blaze Force Greatsword, making it so that I'm certain what everyone first tested when they got their hands on this weapon, the crits on, or the Soul Blaze on crits blessing actually applies on the Warp Shock Slash now, your ultimate slashy thing that you can do with the sword. If that crits now, using that one crit blessing, you can get those Blazing Spirits on there, which is awesome. So that's really good. And as far as other stuff here, we did have a change to the way smoke grenades looks, which are really good, right? Making the smoke grenade a little bit more transparent for players, and it can also have like this delineation around it where you can tell clearly whether you're in it or not, which was always a problem. You're like, I don't know, am I like actually being covered by this thing, or am I just making it hard for me to see, and enemies can see me perfectly? So that's good. And then perhaps the biggest change of anything balance-wise is the Ogryn's point-blank barrage max cooldown went from 80 seconds to 60 seconds. This is pretty massive. I think this makes this pretty decent ability. You know, the problem before was that 80 seconds is just ridiculously long for anything in Darktide. Really, the only weapon that was able to like use this effectively at 80 seconds was the Rumbler, because the Rumbler can do almost all of its work in like these little bursts where you gather everything up and then you go and then blow everything down. But for the lesser weapons in the class where you need to be shooting all the time in order to generate value as a gunner ogryn, you kind of need a better uptime than 80 seconds. I understand why they went with that long cooldown in the first place, because you have both Bruiser and you have that additional cooldown from the Point Blank Barrage talent, or not Point Blank Barrage talent, the, what is it called? The Lucky Bullet talent has an augment that can give you more cooldown, but I just don't think that penalizing this ability, given that it is not even remotely like the strongest ability in the game, it should not have the longest cooldown in the game. I mean, the Psyker has multiple cooldown talents, and he has the shortest cooldowns in the game. Make it make sense. So that seems like a fair buff to me, and we'll see where it goes from there. As far as weapon blessings and changes like this, yeah, these changes here are going to be good, I think, as far as the Ripper Guns. They realize Ripper Guns are a little bit underpowered, and they're continuing in the trend of changing blessings on weapons rather than changing the weapons themselves, which I think is good. They're just making it so that these blessings here, Blaze Away, Inspiring Barrage, and Cavalcade, trigger with less ammo fired. So you only have to fire 40% of your total ammo to get these fully stacked versus 50%. That's a nice moderate buff, a little tiny buff there. These are good blessings, so that'll help. And now we get the Bloodletter Blessing here. So this one is kind of interesting. I'm not certain exactly what it's supposed to do on the Assault Chainswords or the Assault Chain Axe. It's definitely good for the Heavy Eviscerator though. So this normally is, as we can see in the game here, we have a couple modes of this blessing. So we have here Bloodletter on the Eviscerator, but we can compare it to the Bloodletter that's up here on this Chainswords. So these ones stack 14 stacks of bleed on hit, and previously the way to do this was just do this and tap them one time and then do it again, right, to cap them out at 16 stacks. And like you didn't have to cap them again, but even just tapping them one time would do 14 or 15 stacks like that. That's good. Like that's the only real reason you would use this weapon. Honestly, it's probably not that good. But what this buff did is it made it so that these stacks apply every single tick for the weapon, which is a nice sizable buff, especially for the Eviscerator. Because now instead of only being able to apply like this much bleed, when you bleed, you can actually hit and saw, and then you end up with this full 16 stacks of bleed. Which, I mean, that doesn't look like that much on him, but on a an enemy like this, that's like a couple thousand damage, right? So it's kind of a decent buff. It's not half bad. It's strange that it was applied, but whatever. And then we get the Tenderizer blessing, just a little bit of a buff to blessing on the Cleaver. The Cleavers are still bad weapons just because they lack any other real potential for doing anything that would define the class. There's just way better weapons in the class right now. Power Maul. Okay. And then we've got some quality life changes. Controller button layouts. You can now zoom out and inspect your weapon while on a mission. Can you do it in here now? You cannot. But yeah, if you're on a mission, oh yeah, you can. There you go. So all you gotta do is hold down the weapon inspect button and then right click or aim, and then you can look at your character. Cool, right? Being able to see that all the way around. That's nice. We then have some past events for Sire Milk. Okay. I don't know why I'd want to see those, but whatever. We can get a little bit of a delay to the party invitation notification, so people don't like, you know, flashbang you with an invite, you accidentally accept it and leave your mission or something, or have them join in. We have Commodore's Vestures, which are now split into the main 4 characters and then the actual like side DLC characters. And they did leave a lot of room at the top of that DLC page, but I think we're probably maybe only getting one more character. They updated all items to show the source of acquisition, which is nice. That's part of a different mod that I usually run, but it's nice to have that integrated for normal players so they can understand where they should be getting this stuff as well. And then finally, in terms of fixes, a bunch of stuff for Expedition, no one cares. And then we had a Dark Communion fix. Oh, they actually went in here, a Clandestorium Gloriana fix for some snowy whatever, etc, etc, etc. There's one in here which is really, really important. Oh, a couple in here that are important. Perfectionist. Perfectionist got nerfed. This was a talent on the Zealot for your stealth ability, where if you killed multiple targets with that same stealth swing, it would refund multiple times. That's not supposed to be allowed, but it did it anyway. They also fixed the Captain Shield bug. Hooray! After I made a big deal about that in a video, They have fixed the captains being able to insta-down players. Allegedly. We'll find out if that's the case. I'm certain we'll maybe revisit that later date. And we don't have anything else there that's too crazy. But I forgot to inform you guys that there have been a number of bugs fixed down here with these maps, and yeah, this is devastating. So what they did is they went into a lot of these maps and they fixed up places where you could walk backwards, where you could go backwards, where you weren't supposed to be able to go back over a drop down, or where you could do a certain skip that a certain YouTuber might have made a little bit too famous on Chasm Station. So that skip is now gone. They walled it off on both sides, hardcore, huge, massive walls. Can't skip around it at all. They also patched out getting back up, doing some trick jumps to get back up to Medicaid stations. They even patched out on where is it? The one with Silo Cluster 1866A, you can, I watched Reginald last night try to go back over a drop down using this walkway right at the start of the mission, and you can't. They put an invisible wall on that too. So yeah, a lot of invisible walls going up, stopping us from having fun. No fun allowed. And yeah, and they also fixed some chests where stuff was sunk in the ground, so that's nice. Okay, and then of course, guys, the most important part that everyone needs to know is the cosmetic fixes. This time around, the Blessed Memento Mori, the offset to players' backs, and other visual bugs has finally been fixed. Thank you, Bad Shark, for that. And yeah, there's a bunch of known bugs here. Some stuff with Skitarii, loadouts are unequipped with the exclamation marks. The Deluxe Edition, if you have Deluxe Edition, you'll need to enter into the Morningstar Hub one time before you can choose those cosmetics in the creation process. So just enter in with any character and then make your Skitarii afterwards. And they also are aware that Hogtide players on certain maps, Dark Communion, will be teleported forward when you're supposed to be going to rescue them for no reason discernible. And that's everything for now. So yeah, a pretty good update. There's some bugs in here, especially one that I'll cover with the auto aim ability. But yeah, this is I wish there was more content, to be quite honest with you. I wish there was more changes to the enemies, but we got Skitarii, so at least that'll keep us entertained until the fall, right? And hopefully there are more balance changes and stuff on the horizon. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Stay subbed for more Darktide content to come, and see you next time. This is Real. Bye-bye.